So over the last couple of months doing copywriting, I've learned quite a lot of things, so I kind of want to share the most important thing that I've learned and kind of something that probably will help beginners or even my past self, people who are kind of in that position, looking to learn, looking to even start, and I think this is going to be some really valuable advice. When I first properly started out back in July last year, which has already been like 6-7 months now, so it's already flown by. But during that time, I've learned quite a lot that I kind of want to get into in this video. And I guess the people that I'm talking to in this video in terms of like target audience is pretty much just my past self, so beginner copywriters, people looking to get into this space. When I first started out, I was watching loads of YouTube videos, consuming tons of content, and you do kind of get sold this dream that isn't really realistic. Although it is possible to live this insane lifestyle doing barely any work and working with all these dream clients, that's pretty much the best case scenario, but a lot of the time it's not going to be that way. You always hear people tell you, especially me as a beginner watching loads of YouTube videos, people saying things like you can sign deals with fitness coaches or people selling info products or digital products or another type of coaching, and you can pitch them emails and write their emails, 2 emails per week for 5k a month. Realistically, nobody is really going to pay you 4 figures a month to write a couple of emails anymore, unless you have really good connections and you're in contact with a lot of people that could be this dream client to say, but realistically that's not the case. When I first started out, I was doing outreach to people on Instagram. It was probably back in August last year, which is when I first started doing outreach. And I was just reaching out to people in the info product niche, so people selling coaching or digital products. And I was basically just copy pasting the same message to everyone saying, hey, I wrote you an email for your list, cool if I shoot it over. Probably did like 100 of those a day for at least 2 weeks and probably got like 7 responses total. Sent the emails over once I got the responses and pretty much just got aired from everyone or declined. Because the truth is, people aren't really looking for just copywriters anymore. It's simply not enough. You need to master your skill set a lot more and get really, really good at what you do. Although copywriting is of course the core skill that you're going to be relying on, there's so many more elements and so many more levels that you're going to need if you really want to scale to 4 figures a month and beyond. One of them I would say is email marketing. Now it's all fun and games and it's all easy writing email copy for people or e-com brands, whatever it is. Writing the actual copy is easy, but it's such a valuable skill if you can actually learn email marketing, flows, how they work, and being able to actually write emails for people, even if you have to hire someone to actually design the emails, for example, or if you have connections that you can kind of partner up with to write those emails. It's such a more valuable skill than just writing a couple of words in a Google Doc and pitching that to businesses. So I'd definitely say one of the core skills that you should learn on top of copywriting is email marketing. There's so much that goes into it, and obviously email marketing is a very difficult skill to learn, especially if you're just starting out. But if you can start to master that skill and get really good at that regarding deliverability, segmenting, like I said, flows, campaigns, design, obviously it depends who you're working with, but that's such a valuable skill, and I'd say that's definitely one that I'd recommend learning. Again, me, I'm not really a master of email marketing. I say I'm pretty good at it, I can do a job, and I'm still learning every day, but it's definitely one of the skills that I've written down this year that I want to get really good at and pretty much master because it's so valuable. Now, another one is funnels. Now, you probably know what a funnel is, sales funnels, there's different types of them. Again, depends what niche you're working in. But for me, I work with the agency niche. So a lot of the funnels, it's going to be top of funnel, maybe someone's coming across your LinkedIn post or a YouTube video they watch of yours, and then they'll go further down the funnel as they consume more content and get closer to buy-in or hopping on a call. So it's really important to understand funnels and how they work. So top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. Pretty much how it works is the further you go down the funnel, less people there will be, and these people are going to be pretty much right on the edge of buying from you or booking a call. So for me, working with marketing agencies, I've really been studying funnels a lot and seeing what other people are doing with email marketing and the top of funnel content, whether it's YouTube or LinkedIn, and kind of how that process looks like from the customer's perspective, because that's really important to know. So for example, for me, it might go a YouTube video and then signing up to the newsletter through the lead magnet in the description, and then receiving loads of emails and getting nurtured, and then eventually booking a call and then closing them as a client and achieving your goal. So that's what the typical funnel would look like from me. Obviously it can be very different than that. I know a lot of people do info, so the funnels are very different then, although it could still be top of funnel with YouTube. A lot of the time it's just going to be ads, so coming across someone's content, or it could be organic content as well. Consuming loads of content and then again signing up to the newsletter, maybe joining a webinar, and then just keep getting nurtured through all the types of content they put out. When I joined a coaching program, it was really interesting to look back on the funnel that I kind of went through. So for me, it was YouTube video and then watching more short form content and then signing up to the newsletter, receiving loads of newsletters, getting really nurtured and educated and hooked, and then watching a couple of webinars, and then eventually just taking the leap, booking a call and joining the program. So it's really good to know how funnels work, and that's definitely one of the skills that you need to learn and understand and get really good at. And again, it's going to be such a valuable skill set on top of copywriting. So study funnels, choose your niche, and just get really good at that, because even just knowing how they work is super helpful, because it just kind of helps you write the content, and it's really important to be aware of this stuff. And finally, the third skill set that I would say that you need to master on top of copywriting is psychology. Now, I'm not saying you need to go to university and get a degree in psychology or anything like that, but basically what I mean is just understand how people think. So read some books. You probably hear cash advertising, that's quite a popular one. That's one that I want to read, but there's so many other ways to learn, and you mainly learn just by doing. And again, a lot of this stuff is going to come with experience, but just understanding buyer psychology, why people buy, what triggers someone to purchase something, the emotions that come with that. And again, you can apply this to your copy as well, touching on people's pain points and desires, and you really need to connect with your target audience. Again, depends what niche you're in, but knowing your ICP and really connecting with them and getting deep on their problem is really key. So that's what I would recommend. Buy some books, consume some content, and just kind of understand how people think, because if you're a copywriter, that's going to be really important to know, because otherwise, how are you going to get people to buy from what you're writing if you don't even know what they want? So yeah, that's pretty much what I've learned as a copywriter these past 6-7 months, is that being a copywriter simply isn't enough anymore. You need to learn other skills and stack them. So like I said, email marketing, buyer psychology, sales funnels, how all this works. It's really important to know. And one of the things is just to get really good at what you do, become very valuable to the people you work with, and essentially the results are going to come with that. When I first started out, I was getting a bit too focused on the results, but you've really just got to focus on the inputs and let the outputs handle themselves. Get really good at what you do, and everything else will come. Because when I was starting out, I was getting sold this dream that I could sign 4 or 5 clients where I'm writing a couple of emails for them a month, and I'm getting paid 5 figures a month for this when I'm barely doing any work. But the truth is, you are going to have to do a lot of work. It takes many hours to build up the business, and although maybe at one point you will get in a position when you are maybe only working a couple hours a week and you're making 5 figures a month, but realistically, especially if you're starting out, you really do need to know that it is going to take a lot of work, and that's what I've learned. But you got to enjoy it as well. You got to enjoy that process, enjoy the journey, because you'll probably look back one day and kind of even reminisce about on the come up and, you know, that desire you had to make it. I'd say I was probably the hungriest I've ever been, probably like 4 months ago when I was in the early phase and I was still really close to signing my first client. I was right on the brink of getting that first deal, getting that first win. I think that's when you're probably going to be the hungriest, you know, in terms of your online business journey. That was at least the case for me. But yeah, you just got to keep learning, keep improving, getting really good at what you do, and enjoying the process. So that's the advice I'd give to beginner copywriters and the past version of myself. Hopefully this resonated with a few people, and if you want to keep following me, make sure to subscribe, follow me on Instagram. I'm posting on there as well every week. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.